Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 86 of the All in Football Fantasy Premier League Show podcast. I am your host, the self-proclaimed FPL guru, Alex Rex, and joining me today is one of my usual hosts, Barry Stokes, from his van, and my other usual host who just pointed to himself. Is it me? Who joined us last week. Joining us again is our league leader, Callum Burnett. Callum, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks. Yeah, doing all right. Surviving, clinging on.
Yeah, you overall rank halved again this week, near enough. I mean,
who needs more than 10 players?
You're an absolute dream. Yeah, no playing keeper, did you, this week?
Nah.
A lot of people were caught with that one, to be fair. So that's not uncommon. Barry, where in the world are you today?
Well, I've been in and out of my signal because I'm near East Midlands Airport Services. So yeah, I have been being Santa this week. To be fair, I'm delivering all gifts to my customers.
It's lovely. Traveling around the quarries of the world, delivering gifts. What a guy!
Beers and spirits all around.
Lovely, lovely. As was your Christmas do out here last week, but we won't linger on that point. Thank you ever so much for joining us today, everybody who is listening. This is the last podcast we're going to do for 2023. So we've got a lot to cover this week. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms for Pod, for P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and give the video a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also to give us 5 stars wherever you get your podcast from. So let's get cracking straight away and talk about Manager of the Week. So Manager of the Week for Game Week 17, even though Game Week 17 is technically still open, but we will touch on that in a second. It is Mr. James Stevens, 2024 FPL winner, as he has been featured previously on this podcast. He thinks he's going to win, Callum. I don't know how you feel about this guy and his name, but FPL winner?
-8?
It was a -8 this week. So in goal, he had Dubravka.
It's not you in disguise, Alex.
It
You love
feels like it's me in disguise, doesn't it? You're just Alex in disguise. Dubravka with 7, Trent with 9, Porro with 8, Tsimikas with 7, Gordon and Salah both with 6, because Salah was the captain, Martinelli with 3, Palmer with 14, Jesus, Alvarez and Solanke 9, 2, and currently 6 for Dominic Solanke with 77 points. Got to give a shout out to a friend of the podcast, Sam Danby Bailey. He got 75, so 2 points less, but he didn't take any hits. So shout out to him. Dubravka, Trent, Porro, and Tsimikas at the back. Palmer, Foden, Salah, and Son. Alvarez, Watkins, and again, Solanke. Saliba sat on the bench for 7 points as well, and Gordon sat on the bench for 6. He did wildcard this week, so his other defender was Pau Torres, and he put Leno in goal. He does rotate quite well with Dubravka. So a few differences to my wild card. The two most notable ones, I went for double Liverpool defence, Trent and Tsimikas, and I went for Trippier instead with Walker, which didn't pay off at all really in the end, but it might do in the future. And they kept hold of Gordon, and that's potentially going to pay off. So yes, Manager of the Week. Let's have a look at the table, Callum. Let's have a look at the table. Right, here we go. All in Football Podcast League. 69 points for you this week, Callum. So another good week. You are currently leading the way by 45 points. Near enough a full game week score. It's a strong lead that at the moment.
That's it.
Going for the double.
Ahead of Richard Kirk, 10th. Sandy Punjan chasing now. Richard Kirk only 7 points behind him. Martin Wheel continuing to move forward up in 4th, and Will Hughes in 5th. Yeah, good week again for you, Callum. You don't have Solanke, so you have points locked in as well.
Yes. So yeah, potentially could be a little bit better.
What were your 2 transfers this week?
I went for the vanilla option of Haaland out for Watkins, because Haaland's obviously never playing. And who did I take out in defence? Pedro Porro in.
Who did you take out? You have no idea, do you? Totally forgot. Do you know
that was a week ago.
It was a week ago, to be fair. Let's have a look. Who did you take? Lascelles?
Yes. Oh yeah, that didn't pay off. Ideally. Well, it did a little bit, but
it did pay off.
I could have taken the -4 to get Dubravka in, so I'd at least had some Newcastle in.
Yeah.
But I thought Fulham were going to score this week, so I didn't bother rushing it through.
Well, we've got some statistics on that later on in terms of Fulham away versus Fulham at home. this season. So I've done for everyone just to pay that. I spent an hour doing a fixture ticker. You can tell it's nearly Christmas, and I had a long lunch. So we'll have a look at home versus away form in a bit. Let's touch on one of the main talking points of the week. And before we do this, before we have this conversation, we obviously hope that Tom Lockyer is okay, because it's his second collapse in 7 months, isn't it? It's pretty crazy and scary. We're obviously going to discuss this fixture very briefly, but we obviously do realise that there are more important things to life than FPL, one of them being someone's health. So we're not discussing this because we think it's more important. We're discussing this because we're a Fantasy Premier League and football podcast, and we're discussing what people want to know and to talk about. So obviously we realise that this pales in comparison to the importance of him collapsing, but we hear he's in stable condition, so we hope everything goes well with his recovery. Generally speaking, what happens in this scenario is the points scored from the abandoned match will show as normal, but in the circumstances, it basically rolls with whatever the Premier League decide to do. So if they decide to replay the match within this game week, then the points will be, or replay the match at any point in full, then this game will have its points wiped. They might ask for it to be played, the last 30 minutes played at another point and another time. If that's the case, then I assume these points will stand, but no bonus will be added, etc. And they might just add on the points for 30 minutes if it's in another game week. I don't know. But I think the most likely thing will be they either play the next 30 minutes in the next 3 or 4 days, or they just wipe the game and we have a double game week later in the season. That's what I think will happen, but they're waiting for the Premier League to decide. If that does happen, then they'll auto sub to whoever your first sub is if you have Solanke. Mine's Mengi, who also played in that game, so that's great news. That's great news to have no points from that, but it is the way it is. Callum, you'll be sitting pretty because you haven't got Solanke or anyone there. Baz, do you have Solanke?
No, I'm just waiting for my auto subs in my vice captain to get the points.
Yeah. So yes, that's where we sit at the moment.
I think Baz could be manager of the week if that happens as well.
Is there a chance
of
71 points.
So you're on 71 at the moment, Baz. So
we'll be on 71 after all that's happened.
Yeah. So, but obviously Sam will have his points taken away, but he had Gordon on his bench for 6. Basically, had the same number coming on. So if that does happen, then Sam will.
Well, yeah, Saliba, didn't it? Saliba for 7.
Saliba for 7. So it'll be manager of the week if that's the case. So yes, we'll wait and see what happens. But who knows? In other news, in Haaland news of Haaland World, he did travel to play whoever they're playing in this next round. Are they playing Fluminense or something? Or who are they even playing? I don't even know they're playing in the Club World Cup. But Haaland's playing he's playing in that. He's travelled with the squad. So is De Bruyne and so is Doku. So we will wait and see on Haaland news. Perfect timing, by the way, guys. Kully Matharu is joining us as a special guest today. And can you hear us, Kully? Are you there? Gone early? No? Is he here? No. Well, he's appeared at the bottom of the screen, so we'll wait and see if he arrives. Because I want to discuss the title race. Did you watch the game, Baz? Man U Liverpool?
Watched the second half, and I wish I didn't.
Callum, did you manage to watch any of it?
No.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, you were lucky. I hear that Kully, here he is. Can you hear us, Kully?
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's a bit dark.
Don't worry about it, mate. Thanks so much.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for joining us, mate. Thanks for joining us. I did give you an intro, but you probably didn't hear it already, but never mind. Kully, you watched the Liverpool Man U game. What do you make? We're going to discuss We're going to discuss the title race right now. What did you make of the match itself and the title race itself? Is it a 4-horse race, or is it really only Arsenal against City, or what do you think?
the game itself was very frustrating, obviously, as a Liverpool fan. I thought we played okay in spells, but we didn't do enough with the ball. We probably were a bit lethargic, I'd say, in our play. United were just sat back 10 behind the ball. I think the injuries to them probably forced them to do that. Yeah, very frustrating game. Should have probably beaten a side that is in the form that you're in, but I don't think we will win the title. I think we're in the race and it'll go down to probably the last 5 or 10 games, but just don't have enough depth in our squad to do so. But I think it'll be out of Arsenal and City. I think Arsenal will do it.
Do we think little pop quiz for everyone on here now? Do the pundits always do the same thing because they always say that a team that's quite new to the title race can't win it. For example, obviously Aston Villa this season, they always go, oh no, they can't win it because only twice in Premier League history has a team that's not finished in the top 3 the season before won the title the next season. Can anybody name the 2 teams, the 2 times that's happened?
Leicester.
One's relatively obvious. Leicester came 14th and then won the title the next year. Anyone name the other one?
Blackburn.
Blackburn came second
Chelsea
the year before they won.
10th.
Chelsea came 10th and won the title the next season. They came 10th the year that Leicester won the league. And then they won it, so it was back-to-back. But I know that this is the reason why they never... The pundits never go, oh, because the people tend to have to be in a title race or have done well the season before to then be involved in the next one. Are Villa genuine title challengers for you, Kully?
I mean, if their home form continues the way it is, then yeah, potentially, but I don't think it'll last. I've seen some people say they've got a bit of luck with the injury so far, but I was saying this to Jimmy on Friday. They've had a few injuries themselves. I know they've got a bit of a big squad now, which is good for them, but I don't think they've had that much luck with injuries. But yeah, I think the Europa League campaign, or is it Europa League or Conference League they're in? One of them two will probably affect them down the line. So I don't think they'll last the course.
Baz, title race, your thoughts?
I wouldn't see why not. I tipped them to be up there or thereabouts, obviously in the Europa Conference, Europa League spots, but not obviously this high. But I think, touch wood, it doesn't happen. But I think the one Watkins injury away from not doing it, if you know what I mean.
And what do you think of what's happening with Man City? Are they in a crisis? Is there a problem? Because I mean, that's another disaster at the weekend, really, in terms of that they can't lose, they can't draw a game. Sorry, from that position against Palace.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a lack of concentration, really, on that front. But we know what Man City is like. They don't start very well. If they did, God, I think no one would have a chance of winning the league. So usually, new year, that's it. New year, new team, near enough, as the saying goes. New year, new me. So you can't rule out City, put it that way.
No, absolutely not. But 5 points off Arsenal. Arsenal obviously came second last year, kind of capitulated towards the end, but have reinforced in the right places. Callum, are they the favourites for the title?
I think so. They seem to be getting the points and winning the games in ones that they weren't last year. When they're in this sort of position, they've probably been able to grind out results, which they just weren't doing at all last year. So I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like Baz said, new year and City will have quite a lot of their assets back as well by that point. You get De Bruyne back in. Yeah, the rest of them start flowing again. Yeah, it could be spicy.
Is there an argument though with the City side of things that they've lost players like Laporte, Gundogan, Mahrez, Gundogan in particular, I think, in terms of that link in the player midfielder, which they haven't really replaced. So potentially we're looking at a team that's a lot weaker though this year because of a key player missing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a good point. But yeah, you never really write them off with Pep. That's the thing. Pep factor.
You could argue Bernardo Silva can do the Gundogan job.
Potentially. But I think we're looking at a team, a four horse race currently, and then Villa with their lack of experience. We'll see where they are in 10 games, I think, shall we? And then go from there. Kully, I've got to ask you, as the United fan here talking to the Liverpool fan. Was it arrogance? I've heard arrogance thrown around a lot about Liverpool fans and potentially leaking into the team for this weekend of complacency. Were you complacent?
I wasn't particularly because I'm worried about every single game.
I know you are.
Yeah, exactly. I was worried about Sheffield United, mate. So I don't think it creeps in the dressing room, but I think the outside noise was we're going to wallop you again. So maybe it does start to creep into mindsets. I think that's why Anfield was so flat. And that's probably played a part in the performance. I don't think Virgil's interview was arrogant. So I think Keane's taken that the wrong way. But I wouldn't like to think it's arrogance, but there is a tendency to be a bit complacent in the side, if I'm honest, in recent, last year and this year. So we're just not playing well enough to beat you when we're not playing well. So
it's a team that's not playing well. It's 1 point off. Well, this is it. You're a team that's not playing well, and you're 1 point off the top. So it could be worse. That's for sure.
It is a good sign.
It's a really good sign. I did find it really weird. I have quite strong opinions on referees generally because I ref some five-a-side once, so I think I know what the hell I'm talking about. But the Dalot red card for me was just mind-boggling, considering what happens in every single football match I've ever watched ever in my life ever. And I don't think there's anything wrong with him getting 2 yellow cards back to back for that, as long as they do it for everyone. It all seemed a bit odd, considering. I don't know if you guys have any views on that. I mean, I'll come to you, Baz, on that one. You obviously watched the second half. What do you make of all of that?
They were saying something was said, but you look back at the replays and it don't look like Dalot said anything. It was just the throwing the arms gesture about and all this. And a similar situation happened with Lewis Dunk with Brighton game when he got sent off. So to be fair, they need more protection. And if that is 2 yellow cards for keep persisting with your dissent, then fair play. It will soon stop that. And they should go into like rugby, where only the captain talks to the referee, and I think that just minimises all the problems. And if you're not a captain, you get booked. But yeah, obviously I don't make the rules.
No, I think that it was the second thing that Dalot did was not even directed like at the referee, did it away from the referee in frustration. It was just all a bit. It all seemed a little odd.
Yeah, and plus Dalot was right. It was actually a Man United throw-in because it came off the Liverpool player. I think it was Salah. It came off Salah last. So he was adamant, and you would be because he was right. But end of the day, you've got to obviously respect the referees, and he didn't do that, and he just took it a bit too much and dissented a bit too long, and 2 yellows. See you later. Have an early bath.
To be clear on it, I think it's the right thing to do generally. I think we need to see more of it. Book players for being absolute knobs, basically. They just get on with it and do it. But then he saw Darwin sarcastically applaud an assistant referee not get a yellow card for it earlier in the game. I was a bit like, come on.
Also, you got to look at is
that's what you get annoyed by.
Salah waved the imaginary yellow card as well to Dalot as well. So.
I mean, this is what I mean.
Yeah, but they haven't done that since the second game. Baz, they haven't done that. They haven't booked anyone since the second game of that flashing the yellow card thing. They always do this. They always bring a new rule and then bin it off after a couple of games.
So I mean, it's the inconsistency. We won't be arguing and having this topic if they were consistent in the decisions. Same with VAR, and when they get involved when they don't need to. With the Ben Mee challenge, there wasn't a clear and obvious error.
I agree.
It's just interesting to have that as a something that sits in the background a little bit, because we all just want consistency, don't we? And we all want players to stop backchatting to referees and stop being crap humans, because whether they like it or not, they are role models to kids, and it's just the way that it is. But it frustrates me a little bit when it's not like that. Let's get on to matters of Fantasy Premier League. let's link this together because we have got 3 game weeks to cover. So I've gone about this by trying to condense it down into what players are we going to pick over the next 3 game weeks. So the other fixtures to bear in mind are the League Cup quarterfinals that are happening this midweek, where 6 Premier League teams are involved, which I went through last week, and Manchester City are playing in the Club World Cup. Other than that, we've got these 3 game weeks, and then it's the winter break. The FA Cup third round is in that gap between game week 20 and 21. The League Cup semi-finals are in that gap between game weeks 20 and 21. And also AFCON and the Asia Cup start in game week 21 and will last 22, 21, 22, 23, and 24 if your team players make final. So these are times when you need to bear in mind who you're buying, because you don't want to be investing in a player now for the next 5 or 6 game weeks and they're going to go and play the Africa Cup of Nations. You don't want to invest in a player as going to the Asia Cup, for an example. With me, click on that. So next 3 weeks, lads. Obvious teams that stick out. Let's start by having that conversation about Villa assets, because they have got 2 of the easiest fixtures on the in the ticker. They've got Sheffield United at home and Burnley at home within the next 3. And Manchester United away in my fixture ticker that I created that I'll show you in a bit is the 18th easiest fixture. So it's an incredibly mid-table fixture for everyone. So Aston Villa assets. Baz, you first. Let's crack through these because we've talked about Aston Villa plenty of times. Who have you got currently and who you're looking at potentially bringing in?
So I've got Watkins and Cash, but obviously Cash is in and out of the team, so potentially looking at getting rid of him and might get like an Aston Villa defender. I'm worried about Digne because obviously Mourinho played because obviously Digne was suspended, scored. So I might go for like a Pau Torres or a Consa or even a Diego Carlos. So one of them, because obviously Diego Carlos has been playing quite regular, and I do like the look of Bailey as well. Bailey looks a good option, either starting or even coming on. He's a bit of an impact sub on that front. He's a Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kind of player for him at the moment. He comes on and does something. So yeah, they're probably the only players I'll be looking at. Maybe McGinn, but I don't think he gets enough points for how he plays. And I think the big impact on Douglas Luiz, I think that's kind of died down now because it was back-to-back scoring at home, and I think the craze of Douglas Luiz has kind of calmed down a bit. So
Douglas Luiz, the equal second highest point scorer of the season, has to be said for them, and he's on penalties. So personally, I think Douglas Luiz at 5.5 is a fantastic option as a budget player. I mean, I say that because I've got him. And I think he's probably the best alongside Palmer option at 5.5 million in the game, especially with the statistics that he's got. I suppose the debate is Leon Bailey is 5.6 and he's potentially playing up front. So for anyone who's got that debate, that's one that's up there. McGinn at 5.5 falls into the same brackets. And Diaby's kind of cooled off again a little bit as well, it feels like, at 6.7. He was obviously returning heavily. Cully, Villa assets, who have you got? Who do you want? Are you buying any for the next 3 game weeks for the really sexy fixtures?
I've got Watkins at the minute. So I've just transferred him in this week, actually. So actually a good decision for once. I put Palmer and Watkins in for this week. So
flush.
Some decent decisions for once. I mean, I wouldn't take advice from me on bottom of the league. That's bam wallet, but want some draft advice, I'd give you it. But maybe DRB. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Haaland, yeah. Maybe DRB. But my plan is to take Maguire and Alvarez out this week. So obviously DRB being a midfielder won't be coming in. So maybe a defender. Cash played last game. I don't think they'll keep too many clean sheets though, because they're just not they play such a high line. I know they have such good home form, but they conceded chances against Arsenal. Probably should have conceded. Brentford had a decent number of chances. So I know they've got a nice run, but I still think them in probably 2 of those games they concede. So maybe Cash. We'll think about
it. Callum?
Yeah, I've got Watkins, put him in for Haaland this week as well. but I'd only really be looking at Bailey or Pau, to be honest. Pretty vanilla choices, but there's no one else I'm really too fussed for.
I wouldn't say Bailey's a vanilla choice. He's quite a differential, to be fair. Pau's, he just got a flag, so he's just one to keep an eye on as well. But I was potentially going to bring him in for my wild card this week if I was going to go with a Villa defender. In terms of goals conceded, home versus away, Villa have conceded 5 goals at home and 16 away. So the contrast in their home and away form is pretty crazy. I mean, the best home team in the league, away wise, they're ranked 29th out of 40 fixtures. So not quite as good. But yeah, Villa assets discussed. We've got to talk about Fulham, lads. We've got to talk about Fulham because even though things might not have worked out super well for them in the week just gone, they have got 2 amazing fixtures coming up. Burnley at home, again, one of the best fixtures that you can have. And then also Bournemouth away. And you're better off playing Bournemouth away than you are playing them at home. So that's which is good. And that's what I mean. You're better off playing them at Vitality than you are them coming to you. Fulham assets, Baz. I feel like you're a big Fulham fan, really. That's what I feel like. I get the gut feeling that you like them a lot. Who sticks out for you?
Just like football, to be honest. And with obviously Castagna signing as well. I don't know why I like him. He's just that kind of fullback player that I kind of like, and he gets involved with stuff and he doesn't sit back. He's not a Gary Neville. He's more of a Kyle Walker and bombs forward kind of player. So with that, I'd say Iwobi looks really good. Obviously, Jimenez is now banned, so you could get Carlos Vinicius in maybe as a differential forward. Obviously, Wilson and Willian keep obviously interchanging, so I'll not be gambling on Willian. Andres Pereira's coming up with some goods as well. Leno, obviously, great option for goalkeeper, and obviously Robinson as well. So that's probably near enough all of them.
All squad.
Yeah, loves them. He just
not
didn't,
really.
Did you mention Tim Ream? Their home
I think
form.
he's injured.
I think he is actually. Their home form this season is basically European level. I think they're 7th in the home form table. They're outperforming all their metrics. Their expected goal difference, they're outperforming it by 5.7 across the season, which is pretty strong. Their players themselves rank 6th in the total amount of FPL points they've scored this season for teams playing at home. I think they've only been outperformed by like Villa, Liverpool, Arsenal, Newcastle, and one other that I can't remember, probably City. So they've done really well. Whereas their away form, they're 15th in the league. Their goal difference is -11 on the road, and no player other than Decordova-Reid and Polinia have scored more than 1 goal. So they are a complete chalk and cheese in terms of the teams to focus on.
That's why I named all the team, because everyone scores.
Everyone's well, not quite. Kully, what have you made of Fulham this season? Anyway, generally,
I'm really impressed by them at Anfield. I mean, to score 3 goals at Anfield is no mean feat. Arsenal probably do it this weekend, but play like we did last yesterday. But I really liked him. I don't know if Baz mentioned it, but Iwobi's really impressed me since he's been there. Yeah. Like he's a good player. I know he was a good player at Arsenal, but he never really got a proper chance in the first team, did he? And he's really impressed me. I'd probably stick Robinson as there as a really good left back as well. Really impressed by him. But they can attack and they're decent defensively. I know we scored 4 goals, but it was 4 worldies. It wasn't like we just cut through them. It was absolute 4 worldies. So, good side. I think he's a good manager as well. Silva is underrated for me.
Done really well, hasn't he? Callum is, because Iwobi was the one that stuck out to me. I don't get me wrong, I do like Willian, but obviously he feels like he's having his minutes managed at the moment. It is Iwobi potentially someone on the man who's top of our league's radar?
Not really, just because the midfield's too stacked. But he could be there. I was more thinking of Jimenez, to be honest, annoyingly. Just for a nice cheap striker, but it's actually
he jump tackled someone.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest tackle I think I've ever seen.
Does he? Sorry to interrupt. Does he get 3 games for that? Was that violent
Yeah.
conduct? So it's
he
3
gets
games.
3 games he gets. He's not back till the new year, I think.
Yeah.
It's he's got 31st of December they
31st.
play. I mean, just what a weird tackle that was.
One way to get festive period off, isn't it?
I know. fancy having Christmas like Neymar when he wants to go home, isn't it?
Just his birthday.
Well, yeah, it's just his birthday every year, isn't it? I did. You probably can't see that very well. I'll put this one up here instead. So what I did was I ran the numbers on the home form and away form. I had a look at the league position overall, league position home and away, had a look at the goals conceded home and away in total, goals scored home and away total, overall form and goal difference. And I did my own little algorithm because the fixture tickers are really just annoying me this year with how wrong they are, in my opinion, in terms of the colours and the way that they're colour coordinated. So I did my own, and I ranked all 40 fixtures from 1 to 40 in terms of what the hardest is this year. And I encourage anybody who is a YouTube watcher to take a screen grab of this incredible Word document I've put together, because it does make for quite interesting reading in certain points. There's a couple of key points that I want to point out on here. Sheffield United at home is quite clearly the fixture to target. So if you are at home to Sheffield United, at the moment they've only got 1 point on the road and scored 4 goals. They're currently looking at conceding 3 a game. So they are the whipping boys, really. Let's see if Wilder can turn that around or restrict it a little bit. But they are the team to target home and away, but definitely when you're playing them at home. One of the other notables on here is Crystal Palace. So normally when you go Crystal Palace away, you think, I'm going to Selhurst Park, it might be a difficult game. They only ranked 8th on this out of 40, and it's better. You're better off actually playing them at Selhurst Park because it's not the fortress it once was. 1 win in 8. That's what they've had this season. They conceded 1.5 goals a game, so they've not been great. And other teams that are performing better on the road than at home are Bournemouth, Everton, Man United, obviously Burnley and Palace, and notably Spurs. Spurs are the other team that are. Now I know they're next to each other on the fixture ticket, but there was quite a big difference in the rank that they had. Spurs are the inform away team in the league, but not the inform home team. So a couple of things there with the fixture ticker that I wanted us to have a look at before we move on to the next team to focus on, which is Chelsea. Kully, are they rubbish, or are they just a bunch of young kids trying to learn how to play together, and they're all going to get along really well, and Pochettino's basically their dad, and he's going to turn it all around? Tell me about Chelsea.
I don't know, but I think Merce said it on Soccer Saturday. It was like a bag of revels. You just never know what you're going to get with him. I watched that most of that United-Chelsea game. Chelsea were one of the worst sides I've possibly seen this season. Just, honestly, I think Sheffield United, I've seen play better than them. Awful. But then they've had some decent performances, like City at home, and I say they played well at Spurs away, but they had a lot of things in their favour in that game. But yeah, they're a proper bag of revels. You just never know what you're going to get, which is probably what you would get with so many new signings trying to gel together. But it's hard to have simply with a team that spent £1 billion in a year and a half or whatever it is. I do like some of the players individually. I think it was hilarious what Pochettino said in his press conference about dipping into the transfer market again. But I mean, all right, fair play, buy some more people. But I don't know what I'm going to get with them. Like, we play them in about, I think, a month or two time. I think early February at Anfield. They could be flying by then, or they could be still trash. But I just don't know what's going to turn up at Anfield, if I'm honest. So, but they've got the individual players.
Which ones stick out to you potentially as FPL assets?
I've got Palmer already. I think he's just a shining light at the minute. I think he's such a good player. Surprised that he let him go, if I'm honest. 45 mil. Looking at the bench as well, they don't really have a big squad set. They've just got quality 15, 16 players as usual. But Cole Palmer is a gem for me. Such a good player. If he could shoot on target, Nicholas Jackson. But I don't think. Yeah, it would be that. But I don't think they've really got any more points scorers. Sterling maybe, but I don't know what his price is. Al
7.1.
7.1. That's very cheap for Sterling. That
he's the top scoring player this season, 77 points.
Yeah,
so
Sterling could be an option. Yeah, I don't think any of the I wouldn't trust any of the defenders. I know they've got a really nice run, 5-6 fixtures coming, but I still wouldn't trust any of the defenders. But yeah, Sterling and Palmer are the only ones I'd probably go near.
Callum, Mr. Top of the League, you've just got Palmer.
Yeah.
Would you look at any of the others, or are you not bothered?
No, it's most cost effective up there. And yeah, like I said earlier, that midfield's stacked, and that's the only place you'd be looking at Chelsea assets. I think it's madness. I see people wildcarding Nick Jackson, for example. Wow. Crazy moves.
I think we all know who you're talking about. His name starts with Sandeep and ends with Hunja.
Trash talk me midweek.
Well, there he is. Somehow sits third in the league after wildcarding in Nicholas Jackson. Baz, your thoughts on Chelsea and the kids?
Quite similar to what Kully said. They've got obviously good individuals, but they just need to gel as a team. And obviously Rome wasn't built in a day, so Poch's got obviously a challenge on his hands, and it could be like Arteta when he's got time with Arsenal. He's gelled them pretty well. Get rid of obviously some of the players that he doesn't want and bring in players that he does, even though he's brought in that many. And also, Nkunku hasn't got a flag on him. Scott's favourite. He'll probably kick me and beat me up if I didn't mention him. He's got no flag on him now, so he is on my radar to have a little look at. So watch out for him.
I feel like when I look at Chelsea's next 4 fixtures in particular, they've got Wolves away, Crystal Palace at home, Luton away, and Fulham at home. On my fixture ticker, that's equal 14th best fixtures, followed by the 7th best fixture and the 9th best fixture out of 40. They have the best run. So I know a few people, number 2 of you there have said, not noticed Sterling. Cully said potentially, yes. I think you could do a lot worse than doubling up on the Chelsea midfield. Raheem has done it for years against rubbish teams. He's a flat track bully, and he tends to deliver in these matches. And he did against Fulham last week in terms of an attacking return. I know we've got a relatively template midfield at this very moment in time with Salah, Son, Palmer, Saka, and then usually Gordon or Bowen. That seems to be the midfield for everyone. Even when I had a look at which is one of the reasons, Callum, why you're managing to maintain that lead so well. There's not like another midfielder that's really come along that you couldn't jump on that's actually delivering a different result. That's why I look at players like Trent, who is a differential. It's just so expensive. He's the sort of player that kind of breaks the template at the moment. Bowen potentially as well. But I think Sterling is one of those players over the next 4 weeks. I've said it last week. We've got him in the pod team. I've got him in my draft team. I nearly wildcarded him in this week. It was very close. He was right on the cusp. I think 4 or 5 week punt was good for him. I don't know what you make of that, Callum. Have you found it that way? Quite easy to make your choices for that reason?
Yeah, that's why I'm not taking that many hits. I don't think I've had a good team quite early on and been able to just pick the hits I want. And like you say, my only worry is Trent as a differential is going to hurt me, but then it messes up whoever's team structure who does that. So then it could mean they're in a worse position anyway. So it's even though the points could be there, it could mean that they've skipped themselves somewhere else.
You've been able to, for example, when I looked at the top 10K most owned players and the overall most owned players, like you've managed to move to Porro very quickly and Palmer are those 2 players that were potentially going to hurt you in this period of time. You've managed to move to them straight away. Watkins as well as someone you've managed to get. The only player really over the next week, maybe Solanke next week, that you probably look at and you go, oh God, I don't want him to deliver. But there's always going to be somebody. But yeah, when I look at the most owned players, even in the top 10K and the overall most owned, Trent's not there yet, but he might end up being. But like the midfield is Salah, Son, Saka, Palmer, Gordon, Watkins, Haaland, and Solanke is the front 8, and you probably most people have got 7 of them. I'd have thought, obviously, before Haaland got injured. So maybe most people got 6 of them. Maybe not 7. Maybe most people got 6 of them though. So yeah, we are looking at a relatively template midfield. So that's Chelsea covered. Liverpool. I've got to ask you about the Liverpool assets, Kully. Because we've just touched on Trent there. Salah's obvious. Anybody else? And then what will happen when Salah goes to AFCON?
I think with our run of fixtures coming up, we've got a pretty challenging run of fixtures. The next 7, even Burnley away is a really tricky fixture. I won't touch any of our defenders. I know people have got Tsimikas in because he's quite cheap. Well, he is very cheap. And obviously we quite play high up for our fullbacks, and he has the potential to get attacking returns. But Núñez hasn't scored a goal in 10. Don't touch him. I think Jota's coming back this week, so if he stays injury free, he'll probably be the one that plays down the middle when Salah's away, and maybe stick Gakpo on the left, Diaz on the right, something like that, or Diaz on the right, Jota on the left, Núñez up front. If he starts hitting some form, Jota could be a potential. But anybody else, there's not really any main point scorers from our central midfielders like Szoboszlai. Starting to dip in form now. I think we've overplayed him a little bit. Callum Burnett just got injured yesterday. So our attacking midfielders, I don't think will score points. But Jota's probably the one I'd look at maybe if I was going to pick a Liverpool player. Trent is just too expensive. Just 8 million for. Probably not going to keep many clean sheets in that run of fixtures. Especially when Salah's away. And yeah, I just don't. It's weird spaces he gets into now. He's a lot of the edge of the box, and he might score a free kick or 2, but he doesn't stat pad his assists anymore because he doesn't have that Firmino/Mane to cross to. He has Núñez to cross to, who misses quite a few chances to. I won't bank on Trent.
8.2 mil, the most informed FPL player at the moment. Trent, this is the thing. Like that's the difficulty, isn't it? Because I look at the fixture run. And it's funny. It's one of the reasons I did this fixture ticket because I was really interested to see like how they all ranked and stacked up. Because Liverpool's fixtures did interest me. Obviously, you've got Arsenal at Anfield next, so tough game. Obviously, a tough game. Burnley away on my fixture ticker is the 3rd easiest fixture.
You say that, Al. Fine, yeah. On paper it is, but our form against promoted sides away from home. Just have a look at it. The last 5, I think we've won in the last 6. So I wouldn't trust us at all.
Why is that?
I don't know. Again, like what I said before about complacency in the side, I think there is a touch of that when they take on sides that they think they should be being. That you don't want to think that with professional footballers, but I think there is that type of complacency that creeps in. And I think we struggle to break down teams with 10 behind the ball. I think we find it really difficult.
You then have Newcastle come to Anfield. And just to give you an idea on Newcastle coming to Anfield, they are the 20th easiest fixture. They're the middle of the table because Newcastle away from home they're a bit rubbish, really. I think they were 16th in the form table away from home this season, 2nd at home. Only Villa have a better home fixtures than them, and they were one of the anomalies. I looked at them and thought, actually, Newcastle when they go away from home on the road aren't great. They're a bang average mid-table side. So I saw Burnley away, easy game. Newcastle away, Newcastle at home, sorry for you. I thought great game. Bournemouth away, another great game. So what I look at in terms of the numbers, I think you've got quite a decent run. I think anybody who really wants to try and catch up.
We lost that Bournemouth game last year.
Did you Bournemouth away?
Lost 1-0.
Didn't you beat them 9-0? Was that the year before?
That was at home, but we got Bournemouth away, haven't we?
Didn't you beat them away 9-0? Or were you at home to them?
No. Home 9-0. It was the 3rd game of the season. I went to it.
How did you? Oh, that's when everyone captained Salah and he got no returns.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone remembers that.
Missed from 2 yards out.
Yeah, brilliant. Had him as captain that week. That summed up my season at that point.
Yeah, we lost that game last year, mate. So it's not an easy fixture for us.
Well, there you go. There's the Liverpool fan putting down my points. Let's have a look at fixtures, shall we? Let's have a look at fixtures and deadlines. So obviously, game week 17. Well, it said it was open still, but now that game is closed off at 1-1 because that was still purple before. This could be a live update. Interesting. I wonder if that's been confirmed now. Maybe we'll find out after the podcast. Maybe Callum could do some Googling.
I'll look it up in my mind.
Yeah, have a look. Game week 18 deadline is Thursday the 21st of December at 6:30. We kick off with the good old M23 derby, Palace Brighton, the greatest derby of all time, at each end of the motorway. Villa Sheffield United on the Friday, and then we have West Ham Man U 7th v 8th. Fulham Burnley, Luton Newcastle, Forest Bournemouth, Spurs Everton, Liverpool Arsenal 1st v 2nd. I think 7th v 8th is a bigger game. And then Wolves Chelsea to round it off on Christmas Eve at 1 o'clock. Baz, is it Watkins captain or is it somebody else for you?
Watkins captain for me.
Kully?
Yeah, Watkins captain for me. I don't think there's any other option.
And Callum?
Watkins captain.
Yeah, I think it's the reason why everyone's brought him in, because people have been planning for this game week without Haaland being there or whatever else for a long time, and he is the obvious captain. Don't get me wrong, Fulham at home to Burnley. You know, if there was an obvious Fulham player, that's a really good fixture, but there isn't an obvious Fulham player. Newcastle on the road, as we just talked about, their form's a bit rubbish. Spurs at home to Everton. Spurs home form and Everton away form. Spurs home form isn't as amazing, and Everton's away form is better. So, as we look at it, it's a pretty obvious Watkins captain, and don't worry about it too much. The next deadline is Boxing Day, where all of the games are on Prime for Boxing Day. You can watch as much football as you like. Newcastle, Forest, Bournemouth, Fulham, Sheffield United, Luton, Burnley, Liverpool, and Man U, Villa. All of them on Boxing Day on Prime. Separated out so you can hopefully watch most of them. 27th, Brentford Wolves, Chelsea Palace, Everton City, and then the 28th, Brighton Spurs, Arsenal West Ham. Slightly more difficult in terms of captaincy choices here and this week, don't we think? Are we looking at the Salahs, the Haalands? What do you think, Callum? Come to you first on this one.
I think Salah.
Salah, wait, Burnley.
Yeah.
Bars?
I like a wild shout of Trippier.
At home to Forest? Interesting. Not maybe Anthony Gordon?
I ain't got Gordon, so I'd like to have him, but I ain't got him.
Kully, what are you thinking about this week? You wouldn't trust obviously your team at Burnley? So...
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I've just said, and I can't.
Salah, triple captain.
Well, every time I'm captain, he does crap as well. So probably by the fiction.
You're such a fan. You're such a Liverpool fan. The way you talk about it, like FPL.
I'd probably have to go Salah, but just because of the players I've got, really. So if I had like a Newcastle asset, maybe like a Gordon, a Wilter, and an Isaac, maybe. But yeah, Salah probably.
Yeah, it's interesting again to look at these fixtures because a lot of people will look at, for example, Everton. When if you play Everton away, they rank 19th on my fixture ticker. So it's a decent fixture to go against. But yeah, this game is the obvious one. I think I'll be on Salah against Burnley, considering playing Burnley away is third on my fixture ticker. Kully's made me very nervous about that though. And the final deadline, after we've eaten way too much, drank way too much. If you drink, obviously, I assume you all eat to listen to this podcast. We'll be sat there. We'll be sat there on Saturday the 30th of December at 11 o'clock with the early kickoff. Luton playing Chelsea at Kenilworth Road, Villa Burnley, Palace Brentford, City Sheffield United. Wolves, Everton, Forest, Man United, Fulham, Arsenal, Spurs, Bournemouth, Liverpool, Newcastle. Another big game for you, Kully. And West Ham, Brighton. Son versus Haaland for this week, I'd have thought. if Haaland's fit. Any further thoughts on that one, Callum?
Paul Palmer, obviously.
Cole Palmer away at
Yeah,
Luton.
it'd be Haaland.
Yeah. I think
Without a shadow.
it's one of the ones, isn't it, here? If Haaland's fit and he plays remotely in the Club World Cup and then maybe comes back and plays in the game against Everton in some way, shape or form, like, you've got to get him back for this game. Like, Sheffield United, like, at home to Sheffield United is number one on the fixture ticker by a long way. Like, it is the best game on the fixture ticker. So if you have to figure out a way in your head, if Haaland, for example, plays in either of the two Club World Cup games, to be getting him back for this fixture, he could really, really hurt you. I mean, he could blank. He could get one assist like against Bournemouth at home, wherever it was. But this is the fixture where you need to be bearing it in mind. And if he isn't fit, well, then why not look at the Alvarez? Why not look at maybe even going on one of the midfield options? But this is one of the times to be looking at. But Baz, tell me I'm wrong.
Not wrong.
Tell me something different. No.
Kulusevski.
Yes, thank you, Kulu. And obviously, Kully will be captaining Darwin. So we now need to wrap up with our festive differential draft, Baz. So as our last thing we're going to be doing on this podcast today. Are we going to do this the same as... I'll tell you what we'll do. Oh, Callum, you have not prepped for this at all. And Kully has no idea what we're doing. So...
no idea.
Right. Have you listened to us do our differential draft? Or do you switch off by that time most weeks?
Listen to the pod.
Yeah. I tried to guess that you listened to it at all, but never mind. Our friend support. Right, I have numbered... Baz.
I like all your posts.
You do, actually. You're really good. You and Judith are the only two that do. So I have... Baz, we're going to draw for Callum first. So Callum's going to pick a number. 1 or 2. I've numbered naughty and nice. So we're doing our same as our Halloween draft. Do you want to... Baz, you talk about the rules. You do this for you. Take over. I've talked enough.
So instead of just having 1 under 10, you have 2 if you get a nice. But if Alex Rex Santa gives you a naughty, then you have to have 2 under 1s. So that's how it works. And everyone else is under 5.
Yes, everyone's under 5. So you get 0 under 10s. Is that right?
Correct.
Then,
yes, that replaces you.
0 under 10s. Great. Right, Callum, pick a number. 1 or 2. What have you gone for?
It's 2.
Callum, you're on my naughty list.
Brilliant. That's what I wanted anyway.
What a disaster.
Can't get worse than last week. 2 points.
Barrett. Well, 2, but might be more. You had Solanke.
There's no news on that, by the way, when I check that in the old mind.
Not? Oh, never mind. Right. Baz, 1 or 2?
I'm going to go for number 2.
Yeah, you know why you're going for number 2? Because you want it to be naughty, don't you?
Yeah.
And you're right. Naughty. Well done. I will now do some writing. Kully, pick for me, number 1 or number 2?
1.
I'm also naughty. We're all naughty. Oh, no. Right, no under 10. So we've got to do 2 under 1s and 3 under 5s. And Kully, what we're doing is we're picking our differential picks for the week. Baz, update on the scores overall, if Scott's points can count, obviously.
Yeah, I can do it. It's obviously a close run affair. I won it with 32, and I'm on 290 points overall. Alex came second, and he had 24 points. He's on 290 points as well, because I did count Bournemouth. So it wasn't 2. I did count the Bournemouth, and he got 15 because I gave Solanke the bonus point as well because he was on for it. And he's on 255. So, and a shout out to Guy Ferguson who played, and he got 28. It was just Fabianski was just too good on the day, and so yeah.
Fabianski was the big one for you this week, keeping his place, Baz, that's for sure. So you took that gamble and it paid off. So Callum, your first pick, mate.
Iwobi.
Yeah, of course you've gone for Iwobi. God damn you. I will go for Richarlison.
I'm going for Jacob Ramsey for Villa.
Oh, gone for his 0.1% owned Jacob Ramsey. I like that. Callum?
I might go for Richarlison.
Oh,
Oh,
you did it! You
still
did it
got it.
again.
DCL.
Of all of them, go for. This is really hard. Pressure's on. Clock's ticking. I want to go for a Villa defender, but I can't find which one I'm allowed to go for. Oh, Diego Carlos, 0.5%.
I'm going for Petrovic.
The Chelsea goalkeeper.
That's correct.
Who did you go for before, Callum?
DCL.
DCL, that was it.
Where's Richarlison?
Should be Richarlison.
Absolutely not.
We have to go for Diego Costa, I think.
What an absolute player. RIP to him in the Premier League.
He's gone out of -1. Okay, good. Oh, fuck's sake.
Okay, now it's explicit. Great podcasting this one, Callum. Come on. Pick.
Neto.
Neto.
I'm
going for Leon Bailey at 2.4%.
Oh, of course.
I'm going for Vinicius.
Oh, Vinicius. Back to you, Callum, again. We're absolutely relentless with you today.
Vinicius? Is he gone?
Unfortunately so.
I'll go for Conser.
Oh, Ezra. And I will go for Luton's Adebayo, 0.9%. And I've got to find a goalkeeper.
I'm going to go for Castagna as my defender.
That's a shock, Baz. That's a shock. Back to you, Callum. Last pick. Who have you still got? Have you got a keeper left, or have you been for one?
Midfield, I think.
Midfielder left. Right.
Does need an under one.
Oh, okay, good. Well, let's change that one then.
Under 1%.
What a game! What's up?
It is a great game. No pressure at all.
I'm getting abuse from the door. It's all going well.
Are your kids telling you that you can't do this either?
Yeah.
Absolutely giving you absolute nonsense here.
No, he doesn't play. Hello. What I'm doing, I'm having an absolute shock at what I'm doing. I've gone full Scott Williams here. That's what
I think Joe Callum's going to do is going to pick Verbruggen surely here, I think.
Needs a midfielder, doesn't he? So.
Gilmore.
Gilmore. Oh my God. There he is. Picking out the wins. I'm going to go for Bentley to keep a clean sheet against Chelsea.
Saw back.
Nope, he's injured still.
But yeah. Who is he? Kulusevski to finish off.
There you go. Kully was always there. He's got shoulder injury, apparently, so he missed last week. So I've got Bentley, Diego Carlos, Bailey, Richarlison, and Adebayo. Callum, do you have any idea who you've got? You do?
Yeah, Neto in goal, Concert back, Iwobi and Gilmore in mid, and then DCL up top. That is me.
I think you got a couple of good
I've
ones.
got Petrovic in goal, Castagna in defence, Jacob Ramsey, Kulusevski, and Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Junior from that'd be nice. Can't have Vinicius.
Finishes. Kully, who wins? Who's got the best team?
I'm going to just pick yours, Al, I think. Baz has also got a half decent side. Callum, yeah, you're okay.
Give them all.
It's first pick as well, and he's picking for
Yeah,
Scott.
that last pick killed you, I think.
Minor panic.
Brilliant, love that. Right, lads, that wraps us up for this week and for the year. So thank you ever so much for everyone for tuning in and joining us. Thank you to everyone who has supported the channel, supports our social media platforms, and thanks, Kully, for liking everything that comes up. But yes, thank you ever so much for everyone for tuning in this year. I hope everyone has a lovely Christmas and a very happy new year. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms, Offmore Pod, Offmore P, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget to give us a like on YouTube and subscribe to our channel, and also give us 5 stars wherever you get your podcast from. Kully, goodbye.
See you later, mate. Cheers for having me on.
No, thank you for coming. Callum, I won't make you unmute yourself. Goodbye. And Barry.
Bye.
Oh, is
Merry
it? Oh,
Christmas.
yes. Merry
Gambled.
Christmas. Yeah, let's see if you're still top of the league when we're back in the new year, eh? And Barry, thank you ever so much for joining me as always.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everyone.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and goodbye for now.